Hi, friends. I am excited to talk to you today about your Rise Up goals. These are the goals that are going to help you start moving towards that beautiful vision that you have for your family that often we don't realize why the things that we're doing every day don't actually get us there, but it's because we're not noticing the connection between the two. We're doing the things that we see around us that we grew up with and that seem like everybody else, expects of us sometimes. And and we have this other vision of what we actually want, and we're not putting those together. So the first step in being able to do that is to clarify our vision, understand why we want it, make sure that it's really where we want to go, and then we start putting steps and systems and habits in our life that get us there. So that's what this whole thing is about. Um, I'm gonna see if I can get on here. Okay, so let me see if that worked. It looks like it's working. Okay, so these things are going to help us stop feeling overwhelmed with mental clutter because we're so busy trying to do all the things, right? And they help, and we feel so inadequate and guilty because we aren't doing what seems like enough, when in fact, we're just putting more things in our life that are making us feel really busy, but they're the wrong things because our focus is wrong. And so we want to make sure that we can put our focus in the right place. In order to start that, we need to live in a way that enlightens our mind, body, and spirit instead of weighing it down and being us overwhelmed, and that amplifies our influence for good. And so, as we become more alive this way, then we are filled with light and we want to share that light with others. And that's why it amplifies our influence for good, because we start having this desire to bless the whole human race, not just our own family. So an important step in learning to make the very best goals for you personally, because they're going to look different than your neighbors because you have different gifts and talents, and then adjust them as you progress, because goals are not the destination. Our goals are just tools to get us there. So our goals will adjust, but so will our vision, because we'll start to see, but the ultimate destination is what's going to make us happy, not the goal, reaching the goals themselves. And learning to move towards it daily is to start living this enlivening lifestyle, because it will help us notice the things that we're doing and worrying about that aren't important. And as I've raised 8 children and homeschooled for 14 years or so now, I've realized that a lot of the things that I used to worry about, I really shouldn't have worried about, and I didn't need to stress about. And I want you to start to see that too. I don't want you to worry and stress as many years as I did. I want you to start noticing, like, this is what really matters, and all of these things, they don't. And so that's one of the things that we've got to start noticing, and then notice what really does matter and why it matters, so that we can be firm in those convictions and then live according to that. It sounds like my kids are having a party in the next room. Sorry for that noise. Okay, so most of us grew up in this culture of to do and meeting other people's expectations. So we have grades and we're trying to meet the expectations of our teachers, and we have these other expectations culturally and all of these things. And so it's really hard for us to kind of dig deep and to ask ourselves what we personally feel called to do. And we need to change our paradigm and start finding success not in doing all the things and checking off boxes, but in our way of being at the present moment with the people around us. That's where real success is, and that's where we find the joy in the journey. In order to do that, we need to be willing to let go of some of our current beliefs and the stories we're telling ourselves about who we are and the people around us, and replace them with beliefs and stories that are actually true. And so this is where we're going to start today, is to start noticing our vision, and then throughout the journey, we're going to start noticing our current stories, and then later on, we're going to replace them with truth statements in a couple of units here. So experience is the only way we really learn. So people can give us information, we can get it in our head, and we're like, okay, that makes sense. But until we actually start applying it and changing our lives a little bit because of what we're learning, then it's not becoming a part of us, and it'll just go in one ear and not the other. And in a couple of years, we're like, oh yeah, that was a pretty good idea. I remember thinking about that before, but we didn't actually ingrain it in our character because we didn't act on it. And another thing that helps us do that is to teach it to others. As we act on it, we get so excited about it that we want to teach it. And it's just a natural progression of learning something. And so for this reason, I like to teach these principles of joyful progression and living the best current version of ourselves by taking us on a figurative journey. And so that's what the warrior journey is. It's this journey of helping us become, not just know stuff. So as we go through the journey, we'll acquire certain mind shifts, skill sets, routines, systems, and habits in our home and in our life that will change us, and that will progress, help us progress. And as we do that, I give you these little symbolic emblems that show like it's a shield or an armor. It helps you remember what these things are doing for you in your life and in your ability to share your light. And so that's why they're there, and it'll help you kind of not want to let them go because you'll see how important they are. So step one in all of this and just getting started and taking the first step on your journey is to know where you are right now and where you want to be. So I'm going to ask you to make a goal in 6 areas of your life. And it's going to feel pretty overwhelming because none of us can focus in 6 things at once, right? We can only focus on one thing at a time. But as we start to acquire this vision, it'll help us see where we want to go, and it'll help us be humble because we realize how much we need God's help in getting there. As you progress, you'll learn to actually reach each of these goals, and you'll know how to adjust them to what you more accurately need. So right now, we're just going to move towards them in the best way we know how, even if it's not perfect, and we'll stumble, and that's okay because that's part of learning. It's part of practice, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what I want you to do right now is to start thinking about what goal you want to make in each of these 6 areas. And I use the acronym RISE UP because it helps us remember what they are. So the first one is our relationships and family. Where do you want to be in 6 months in that? Next one is our identity or our spiritual goals. And that gives you the armor emblem. That's the fortification for that. And then our skills and talents. And then our environment, our home, our resources, what we want to help us get there. Our understanding and our mind is the next one. And then our physical, our health goals. So right now, I want you to pause this and then think about those and then write a goal in each of those areas. And then once you're done doing that, you can unpause this and we'll move forward. Okay, so after you've done that, like I said, you're probably feeling a little overwhelmed, and that is a good thing. No one expects you to do any of these things perfectly. We have to be prepared to fail sometimes. And so I was thinking about this analogy the other day. Sometimes we have experienced things in life and we want to pass them on to our children, right? And so we want to say, listen, this is what I know. And so we play this figurative, piano piece for them. And we're like, isn't that awesome? Now you play it. And they don't know how, right? So they have to sometimes learn through their own experience. And that's how our Heavenly Father works with us. He says, here's the vision, and we start to see it and we want it, but we're not going to play it right away. And we have to be okay with that. Just practice every day. And that's how we get there. And He helps us, and He encourages us, and He comforts us along the way when we feel miserable because we can't get that certain measure right, or we keep messing up at the same parts. And then just little by little, we start to see it and to play it and to be happy and joyful in that until, it's time to play the next song. So be prepared to fail sometimes. That's part of the process. As we move forward, be gentle with yourself. You are busy with a lot of good things. And that's another important thing to remember. All of these goals and all of these things we want to do, they're incredible opportunities for good. We don't have to look at them as things that weigh us down and make us feel guilty that we're not doing them. Instead, we can look at them as opportunities for good, and we can be grateful for them and just pick the ones we can work on them and practice them and pick some other ones later, and don't let them make you feel weighed down. That's the adversary's tactic. What we actually want is just gratitude for the opportunity we have to do good and the blessings we've been given, and just act on those instead. You'll get a chance to focus on each area for 6 weeks if you decide to start doing different boot camps. And so I offer different boot camps for each of these areas, and we just kind of focus in that area for 6 weeks, and then we move on to another area. And what that does is, as you focus in one, all the others rise up with it. And so you don't have to feel like I'm only going to do this and all of these others are going to go. No, you're still working on them, but you're focused on one, and you'll start to see how the others also are lifted. As we do that too, you'll also learn to let go of the things that aren't as important because you're focused on those things that are. So right now, the important thing is that you have this action plan, this vision of where you want to go. As you, like I said, it's supposed to be hard. As you move forward, the goals will be refined and they will be perfected. Not that they'll become perfect, but they'll start to become perfected. Right now, like I said, you're simply practicing. This practice will help you be humble and more willing to learn because you'll see your weakness, and that is a good thing. So don't forget that. So the next thing, and this is what I want you to do in the comments below, is to share what you learned about yourself as you wrote these Rise Up goals. Share the Rise Up goals. If you want, you can take a picture and just upload it. If you prefer to just write them down, you can. If you would be willing, I would love it if you do a video of yourself sharing them and what you would learn as you wrote them. When you do video, we can get to see your personality. We can get to know you better. And I really, really want to be able to do that. That's why I offer the group coaching, so that we are actually like more close friends. Sometimes it's hard to do that in a platform like this, but I want you to do something that's going to take you just a little out of your comfort zone, because that's how you grow. So if that for you is just writing them down, then that's fine. If for you that's taking a picture, or if you can challenge yourself to do a video, that's going to help us more, and it's going to help you as you challenge yourself and growing. So that's what I want in this group, is for you to be the kind of person who you're meant to be. So you're sharing your light, you're impacting the world, and the more you practice that, the better you get at it, and the more impact and influence you have. And that's what we're here to do, right? We're going to support each other. This is a safe place to practice and fail and try again. And that's what we want for you here. And we're going to cheer you on. It says here, as you press forward and get up again, despite your failures, mistakes, and falls, we will all be excited for you, because we all fall, and we know what it means to get up and try again. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited to be on this journey with you, and to be working on these goals together. So go ahead and write them down below, or video yourself, and let's get started.